welcome to our 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Here, we bring you all the news from around the world through all major media outlets. We bring you all the news that matters most. We delve into real news affecting our society, politics, economy, culture, and education. Let's get started with our first news. Sikh community leaders in Canada are voicing strong concerns following a recent investigative report linking Indian consular officials to the 2023 assassination of prominent activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The World Sikh Organization of Canada, WSO, described itself as deeply disturbed by the article in the Globe and Mail, which claims Vancouver consulate staff supplied key information for the hit. The Globe and Mail cited national security and law enforcement sources alleging that a visa officer at India's Vancouver consulate, suspected to be an undercover agent for India's Research and Analysis Wing, RAW, gathered intelligence on Nijjar from Surrey's Indian diaspora. This official, identified in reports as Kanwaljit Singh, reportedly used visa issuance leverage, coercion, and bribes to extract details, passing them to RAW officer Vikash Yadav in New Delhi. Yadav allegedly coordinated with the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, which executed the June 2023 killing outside a Surrey Gurdwara. Nijjar, a Canadian citizen and Khalistan advocate, labeled a terrorist by India, was gunned down in a parking lot, sparking diplomatic tensions. The report notes late-night consulate visits and wiretaps capturing post-assassination discussions. On the 2nd of March 2026, the WSO called the allegations a serious assault on Canadian sovereignty and the security of Sikh Canadians, urging Prime Minister Mark Carney to expand the probe beyond the charged gunmen to Indian orchestrators. The group demands full transparency, echoing prior calls for diplomat reviews and protections amid fears of state-sponsored violence. Canada expelled Indian diplomats in 2024 over related claims, while India denies involvement, demanding evidence. The fresh report emerges as Carney meets PM Narendra Modi in New Delhi on energy deals, highlighting strained ties. 4 Indian nationals face murder charges, but no diplomats have been expelled recently. Sikh advocates stress justice for Nijjar's family and community safety. French President Emmanuel Macron declared that France will boost its nuclear warhead count for the first time since at least 1992, moving beyond its current stockpile of approximately 290 warheads. Speaking at the Ile Longue naval base in Brittany, home to France's ballistic missile submarines, Macron stated, "I have decided to increase the number of warheads of our arsenal," without specifying the exact figure. This marks a pivotal evolution in France's nuclear doctrine, framed as essential amid escalating threats from Russia's Ukraine invasion and Iran's nuclear advancements. Macron emphasized that France, the EU's only nuclear power and the world's 4th largest with under 300 warheads, will cease disclosing stockpile details to maintain strategic ambiguity. He vowed circumstantial deployments with allies, including potential nuclear exercises involving Britain, while retaining sole launch authority. Macron unveiled an advanced deterrence initiative inviting 8 nations, Germany, Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Greece, Sweden, and Denmark, to bolster collective security. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has initiated talks on integrating air forces for French nuclear missions, signaling deeper EU defense ties as US reliability wanes. A new nuclear-armed submarine, Le Invincible, is slated for 2036. Anti-nuclear groups condemned the move as escalatory, while Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk endorsed it on X, affirming alliance strength. Macron linked the decision to broader instability, including US-Israel-Iran conflicts risking European spillover. With Russia modernizing its arsenal during the Ukraine hostilities, France aims to ensure those who seek freedom must instill fear. This expansion underscores Europe's quest for autonomous defense in a volatile 2026 geopolitical landscape. A U.S. Navy submarine torpedoed and sank an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean, marking the first time since World War II that the U.S. military has sunk an enemy vessel with a torpedo. The Pentagon confirmed the strike on the Iranian frigate Iris Dana, which was operating in international waters off Sri Lanka's coast. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced the incident during a Pentagon briefing on Operation Epic Fury, stating, "An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo." Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane detailed that a single Mount 48 torpedo achieved immediate effect, sending the frigate to the ocean floor and demonstrating America's global naval reach. This action is part of a broader U.S. campaign that has neutralized over 20 Iranian naval vessels and struck more than 2,000 targets, effectively crippling Iran's presence in the region. Earlier, Sri Lanka's Navy and Air Force rescued over 30 sailors from the sinking Iris Dena following a distress call near Galle, about 115 kilometers south of Colombo. Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath reported the crew was hospitalized, with operations conducted under international search and rescue obligations. No casualties were immediately confirmed among the rescued, though the 180 crew frigate's fate raised questions in Parliament about possible bombings amid escalating US-Iran tensions. Prime Minister Keir Starmer revealed that the UK is deploying 4 Typhoon fighter jets to Qatar, bolstering regional security ties, while confirming the first repatriation flight carrying British nationals has departed from a volatile Middle Eastern hotspot. Speaking at a press conference in Downing Street, Starmer described the jet deployment as a targeted enhancement of the UK's long-standing partnership with Qatar. These aircraft will support joint training exercises and deterrence efforts in the Gulf, ensuring stability for our allies and protecting vital trade routes, he said. The move comes amid escalating tensions in the region, with Qatar hosting a key RAF base at Al Udeid since 2021. Defense Secretary John Healey confirmed the jets, drawn from RAF Lossiemouth, will arrive next week, crewed by 60 personnel. In a related development, Starmer announced the takeoff of the first chartered repatriation flight from Doha, carrying 142 British citizens evacuated from conflict zones in the Levant. This marks a turning point. Our consular teams have worked tirelessly, and families will be reunited on British soil, he stated. The flight, operated by RAF Voyager, follows weeks of diplomatic wrangling and builds on similar operations during recent unrest. The announcements underscore Labour's pivot toward proactive foreign policy. Critics, including Tory leader Kemi Badenoch, question the jet's cost, estimated at £20 million amid domestic budget strains. Prioritize Brits at home over foreign adventures, she posted on X. Qatari Ambassador Ahmed Al-Dosari welcomed the news, calling it a testament to our unbreakable bond. Analysts see the dual moves as signaling the UK's renewed Gulf engagement post-Brexit. As the repatriation flight streaks toward RAF Brize Norton, Starmer urged remaining Brits abroad to register with the FCDO. Safety first, we're not stopping here. Thousands of residents in Beirut have been displaced after Israeli forces issued evacuation orders and carried out intense bombardments on the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital. The attacks targeted densely populated neighborhoods widely considered strongholds of Hezbollah, forcing families to flee their homes with little time to gather belongings. Entire districts in southern Beirut have witnessed a sudden and chaotic exodus. As explosions echoed across the city, residents rushed to safer areas, crowding into cars, taxis, and public spaces. Many people who could not find immediate shelter have spent the night on sidewalks, in parks, or outside schools and public buildings, seeking safety from the ongoing strikes. According to witnesses and humanitarian observers, the displacement has created a growing humanitarian concern. Families with young children and elderly relatives have been among those most affected, carrying only essential items as they search for temporary refuge. Local volunteers and aid groups have begun distributing water, food, and blankets to those sleeping outdoors. Reporting from Beirut, Al Jazeera correspondent Zaina Koder described scenes of uncertainty and exhaustion among displaced residents. Many fear further escalation and remain unsure when or if they will be able to return home. The southern suburbs, known locally as Dahiyeh, have long been considered a political and military base for Hezbollah, making the area a frequent focus during periods of heightened conflict between Israel and the group. Authorities and humanitarian organizations are urging calm while attempting to coordinate emergency assistance. However, with thousands already displaced and more residents continuing to flee, concerns are growing about the city's capacity to accommodate the sudden wave of people seeking safety. As the situation unfolds, Beirut faces another chapter of instability, with civilians once again bearing the heaviest burden of regional conflict. A massive explosion lit up the skyline of Tehran as ongoing airstrikes against Iran intensified, marking another dramatic moment in the escalating conflict involving the United States and Israel. Video circulating from the Iranian capital captured a powerful blast followed by thick plumes of smoke rising above the city, underscoring the scale of the continuing bombardment. According to reports from journalists on the ground, the explosion was part of a new wave of coordinated air attacks targeting military and strategic infrastructure across Tehran. The strikes are part of a broader military campaign that has entered its 7th day, with Israeli and U.S. forces carrying out repeated aerial assaults on Iranian facilities believed to be linked to missile systems and defense infrastructure. Reporting from Tehran, Al Jazeera correspondent Tauhid Asadi described the blasts as among the most intense since the beginning of the offensive. Residents across several districts reported hearing fighter jets overhead, followed by loud detonations that shook buildings and sent shockwaves through surrounding neighborhoods. Thick columns of smoke were seen rising from the eastern and southeastern parts of the city, suggesting multiple strike locations. The conflict has rapidly escalated since the joint U.S.-Israeli military operation targeting Iranian missile sites and security facilities began in late February. Officials say the campaign aims to weaken Iran's military capabilities and limit its ability to launch ballistic missiles or support regional armed groups. Iran has responded with missile and drone attacks against Israeli targets and U.S. military assets across the Middle East, widening the scope of the confrontation and raising fears of a broader regional war. As explosions continue to rock Tehran, civilians remain on edge while the international community urges de-escalation amid growing humanitarian and geopolitical concerns. That was the 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Before signing off, I would like to thank you for listening to our news. Until next time, stay informed and be safe. Goodbye.